Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is actually pretty simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you answer your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Well, guys, January is turning out to be quite interesting from a temperature standpoint. You know, we got cold weather coming to the southeast United States, and then all of next week's supposed to be really, really cold. So it's interesting times compared to how winter started out. January, this last week of January is making up for it for sure, right? You know, as always, you can watch the show live on YouTube as a primary platform, but you can also check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So whichever way works best for you, feel free to chime in. As always, if you feel like supporting the show directly, you can also make use of the Cash App link, which you will see right there. Well, guys, again, like I was saying, I mean, really, really wet, cold weather coming our way here. Again, I think maybe starting tomorrow, but really Sunday's supposed to get quite interesting, and then all of next week is supposed to get pretty cold. So yeah. Having said that, I got my pre-emergent, so I haven't applied it as yet, but I've got that ready to go. Got my bag of dithiopyr set to go. I am thinking that once all of the cold weather passes, which will likely be next weekend, by next weekend I'm thinking, I will begin taking the lawn down, start cleaning it up, start my little pre-scout process, getting it ready to go so I can get my pre-emergent out in the first part of February. And yeah, so cold weather's here. It's only gonna be here for a little while. All right, so let's see what we have as far as questions, comments, what you guys had to say. All right, first up we have Mr. BSS Smith. He says, getting ready for 12 to 18 inches of snow this weekend and really cold temps. Good Lord, I hope we don't get that, because in Georgia, if we got 12 to 18 inches of snow, that'd be the end of the state. I mean, we're talking about I don't think even given how much precipitation, but it's supposed to be a little bit of like ice, and like all those the supermarkets are sold out. Like you can't get bread, milk, cheese, like all the stuff that really you would think. I mean, kind of makes sense to buy, but also kind of doesn't make sense to buy if you're going to lose power. Is all gone. But yeah, 12 to 18 inches, that would be quite the mess here in Georgia were that to happen. All right, he says, hit the like button. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much, BSS Smith. And again, with you being, I guess, in Kansas, you're used to the crazy cold weather. But even with that said, make sure you stay warm. You know, if you haven't gotten gas for your car, I mean, if you're in the Southeast, if you haven't got gas for your car yet, I would do that. I mean, again, it's only supposed to be a couple of days of really, really cold weather, so it's not like, not like it's really anything to be too concerned about. But I mean, better to be prepared than not, right? Okay, Dan Taylor's in the live stream. What's going on, Dan? Hopefully you're doing well. And I know a new member of the Lawn Legends group. Thanks so much for coming to stop in and say hello this evening. Hopefully you are doing well. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer wherever you are in the country. And then BSS Smith is saying good evening. And then next up we have CSTN8BC. He says, good evening, sir. Evening. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for coming by to stop in for a little bit for a cold weather edition of the Golf Course Lawn Show. Mr. Robert Rainey, the man, the myth, the legend, has entered the chat. He's saying, good evening, everyone. Robert, not wasting any time. He sent me some pictures of his mower. I guess he got it all cleaned up, and I'm not sure if he had a light. I'm not sure if this light was always on here or if he installed it. At any rate, here are some pictures of Robert's equipment. Again, the John Deere all clean, I guess, getting ready for this upcoming season. And I don't remember if this mower had a light on it before, but at any rate, he's showing that it's working. You guys want to see it? Of course you guys want to see it. All right, so here is picture 1. So that's the mower looking clean. I have to admit, man, that does look good. I was looking for like a fresh paint job, Robert. That looks really nice. And no more picture would be complete without a side profile shot of the R1. All right, and then finally we'll get rid of these two and show the last picture, which shows him running the lights on the mower, which is kind of cool. Let's see here, or running the light, I guess a light. It's running like in Cyclops mode. Dude, that actually throws out quite a bit of light, man. I guess, I mean, I'm not sure how far the throw is, but from that, it looks bright enough that you could hopefully you can maintain like straight lines with it. But it looks cool. Day and night, looking good, man. Thanks for sending the pictures in. I'm sure everybody will, everyone appreciates it, and glad to see your equipment's in great shape and ready to go for this spring, which will be here before we know it, right? So it's cold right now, but it'll get better. Okay, next up we have JP114A. He says, really cold and blowing snow here in central Kansas. Man, that's wild. I can't, 12 to 18 inches. I guess when that comes down, you're probably going to have snow. I imagine it's going to stick around for a couple of weeks. Imagine that doesn't go away too quickly. Yeah, man, better there than here. Here's why. You guys are better equipped to handle it than we are here in the Southeast, in Georgia. JP says, hey, Ron, what's going on? Hopefully you're doing well. And then Scott Smith says, good, not frozen yet evening. That's good. That's good, Scott. Well, hopefully you stay unfrozen. Just stay in. I mean, this weekend is probably not probably. This is not the weekend to be out and about. I mean, I guess, just relax, stay at home. I'm not sure if there's any, what's on this weekend if you watch TV. Oh yeah, isn't it the NFC AFC Championship games are this weekend? I think so. So we could decide to find out who's going to the Super Bowl, so that you could do that on Sunday, and then tomorrow, if you haven't got gas yet, you get gas. You can go out and look at your lawn and be like, hey, you about to go through some rough times. We about to get really chilly here for a little bit, but don't worry. A week from now, you'll be good to go, and life will go on. So Robert's saying, what did he do? He says, a successful day out in the deer woods. I guess you got a deer today, Robert. That's cool. I mean, I didn't know you were a hunter, but that's pretty cool. And then next up, he says a buck deer, Ron Henry. Okay, very cool. Nice. And oh, cool. Robert sent me a picture, an updated picture showing the throw. Actually, that's pretty good. But you could mow stripes with that. I think that would work that would work. I mean, that's a pretty good throw. So he said, I see went outside, took a picture real quick. That's what you're working with as far as throw, which is it's pretty solid. I mean, that's good enough to where you can definitely mow straight lines with it at night. Man, that one, tell you what, it's only got one LED, man, but it's doing all it can. Tell you what, the little LED's just putting out some light. It's pretty cool, man. Very, very nice. Okay, next up, Robert says, I caught him eating ryegrass. Well, in that case, man, I mean, you caught him messing around with the, I guess not with the lawn. He must have ryegrass somewhere else, but I mean, he's out there messing with the lawn. I mean, he's asking for it. He's asking for it. He found out, right? He got what was coming to him. All right, next up we got Mr. Jose Castle. He says, good evening, Ron. I hope all is well. What is the best time of year to use the Miramichi Green pest control on my property? Yeah, so it really depends on whenever the pests that you're looking to control are out and about. So a lot of people use it for no-see-ums, for mosquitoes, for gnats. They shouldn't, I mean, depending on where you are in the country, they shouldn't be too active this time of year. But I mean, if you do live in the part of the country where you do have, that type of activity, you can absolutely use the product. So really, like any other, like most other products, like herbicides, fungicides, in general, you use them when the timing is just correct. So in this case, whenever you have the bugs you're trying to control, if they're out and about, which again, wintertime tends to be less activity, this is when you could go for it. As far as how often, if you were using the pest control to keep mosquitoes at bay, every 3 weeks, that interval every 3 weeks works pretty well. All right. So hope that helps, sir. Thanks so much for the question, Jose. And assuming you have bugs this time of year, you got a great option for keeping them away. I mean, it's a great product, and we get nothing but awesome feedback from the non-toxic pest control. Smells nice, works great. Bugs can't form resistance to it. There's all kinds of great benefits to it. Okay, Michael Thomason is up next. He says, hey, Ron, been a while. Question. I have a Revolution 20 and a rotary mower that only goes down to 1 inch. When it comes time to scalp the lawn, can I use the Rev 20 without hurting the reel too much? Yes, it's a great question, Michael. It depends on how low you're going, and it depends on how even your lawn is. So like most questions in life, the most accurate answer is it depends. So let's say your lawn is relatively even. You're at 1 inch now, and you could say mow down to 1/2 inch without the mower, the reel getting into the impacting the soil, impacting the surface. If you decide you're going to scalp your lawn down to say 5/8, 3/4, something like that, that would be absolutely fine. It's whenever what's really hard on reels when you're scalping is whenever you get into, like, you go past the grass and you hit dirt. Like, that's really hard on reels. So if you avoid that, you should be good to go. What I tell folks at any rate is, I mean, if you're going to scalp your lawn, good idea to just go ahead and just plan to get it freshened up. At a minimum, get a backlap it after you're done. But worst case, scalp and then do a grind or backlap afterwards, depending on what the mower needs. Reason being is that when you are scalping the lawn, even if you're not getting into the dirt, you are taking off a lot more material than you normally do. You're also cutting grass that's dry. You know what I mean? So just in general, for most people, I recommend that if you can, your budget allows for it, it's not too inconvenient for you to go ahead and freshen up the reel after you're done scalping. But the most correct answer is, if you keep the mower out of the dirt, you should be okay. You should be okay with just a backlap once you're good to go. What I would do for me is I would use the rotary. I'd make a couple of passes with the rotary to get as much out as you can with that, and then go to the reel mower, to the Revolution 20, to take it down to the area where you just. What I tell folks is 1/4 inch below where you intend to maintain the lawn is a good height of cut to choose for your scalp work. So say you're going to maintain the lawn at say 3/4 inch. If you can take it down to to 1/2 inch, 5/8, that's going to be pretty good, because you're cutting below where you intend to maintain the lawn. You're giving it some room to grow back into. So hope that helps, sir. Again, it really depends on how bumpy your lawn is. If it's really bumpy and got all kinds of stuff going on with it, then yeah, you are more than likely going to get the reel into dirt, which is going to necessitate you having to go out and get it sharpened. So just depends on how even your lawn is. All right, Mr. Higgy Pop is in the live stream. He says, hey, Ron, what are your top 3 things you are doing to prepare for this ice storm here in Georgia? Well, if it hadn't rained, I would have run a short irrigation cycle, but it rained yesterday, and it rained today. So the soil and the grass has got plenty of moisture, so no need to do that. If it hadn't, say I had like a couple of weeks of just completely dry weather, I would have run a short irrigation cycle before the really, really cold weather shows up. So that would have been thing one. And then just stuff that outside of lawn care is just have gas in your car. You know, have your car full of gas. And if you have any like, if you have those battery packs that you can use to charge cell phones or things like that, or like a portable battery boxes, get those charged up. Just again, it's probably not going to be as bad as they're trying to make it out to be, but it's always just good to be safe than sorry. If you have a cooler, uh, I'd say you can go get ice, but it's kind of a waste until that you actually need it. But if you have a cooler, getting it cleaned out, making sure you know where it is, and that if you have to, like, if you lose power, you have to transfer perishables into that, like, just planning for that type of thing. But outside of that, I'd say just stay off the roads. Last year, we got, I don't know, a couple of inches of snow, and everyone decided to venture out, and I mean, literally, I drove afterwards, and all you saw were like cars literally on the side of the road, either like slid off the road in ditches or just parked on the side of the road because they got stuck. So unless you have a vehicle that's designed for it, something that's something a truck, Jeep, something with 4-wheel drive, I'd say stay in. And even then, probably it's better to stay in. Just unless there's a real need to get out there, just avoid it. All right, next up is Jose Castle. He's back. I just received my Dimension pre-emergent in the mail yesterday. Getting ready for those spring weeds. Very nice. I like it. You and I are on the same wavelength. That's what I'm going to be using this spring. Normally, I go with prodiamine, but this spring I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go with Dimension this spring. We're going to swap it out a little bit, That's good to go, Jose. And, that's a good point. Even though we have cold weather coming, you absolutely can be planning your spring lawn care program already. I mean, the next big thing you're going to be doing as far as inputs to the lawn will be pre-emergent. So, if you're in the Southeast, yes, we have cold weather coming here over the next, 7 to 10 days or so, but then, we'll be into February. It's going to really ramp up really quickly. So it's a good idea to have your pre-emergent, at least know what you're going to go for, what you're going to be using. And then if you don't have it as yet, acquire it, have it standing by, and so you're good to go. As far as an excellent set of options for pre-emergent, we got a blog post all about things you should look at, products you should buy now for spring. That's the pinned comment. But as far as pre-emergent goes, if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to Shop and Weed Killer, and you go to our filter, which is for pre-emergent, you can see some great options, easy to apply, very effective options for keeping weeds out of your lawn this spring and summer. So this is something you can be doing outside of pre-emergent. Also good to get a soil test done, because one of the most common questions we get outside of how do I get rid of this particular weed on my lawn is which fertilizer is best for my lawn. And the best way to answer that question, the most accurate way to answer that question, is with soil test data. So if you go to Shop and then soil test kits, what I would say is, if you've never used a soil test kit before, get the starter pack, because it comes with the soil test kit and the probe tool for collecting the samples. So this makes it easy to get this done. Once you do this the first time, then you can just go for just the soil test kits, because you've already got the tool. No need to buy it again. So I'd say plan for pre-emergent and then plan for a soil test, so that you know what you're going to be going with as far as this spring. All right. Good times, man. All right. Next up, we have Randy Velarde. He says, "Evening, Ron. How do I go about using my springtime power rake and verticutter this growing season? And do you think a Revolution 10 blade would make a huge difference, not a small, huge difference, on my 3/4 of an inch how to cut celebration?" All right. As far as how to use a power rake and verticutter, I'm going to use them. I would do them in the orders opposite of what you just listed. I would verticut, and I would use the power rake to clean up any debris that's in the lawn. That's the way I would do it. You can use verticutter as a way to, in lieu of scalping, as a way to kind of to thin out the lawn to get it ready for this growing season. And you can also do verticutting, especially if you are, in your case, you're real mowing, as you get into the month of May, like late May, when the lawn begins to really thicken up from all the real mowing and the hotter temperatures we're getting, a verticut throughout the growing season to help gently thin out the lawn is really going to help maintain the cut quality and just the overall appearance of your lawn throughout the growing season. So you can use the verticutter, as a substitute for scalping if you want to. I've done that in the past; it works pretty well. But then I would also plan to do it during the growing season because it really does help your turf look its absolute best for as long as possible. And as far as the power rake, if you're setting it up towards not too aggressive, you can use it for gently cleaning out debris out of the lawn. That is how I would use a tool like that. So it would be verticut, and then use the power rake to clean up debris that the verticutter, I don't know what kind of setup you have, but doesn't catch. That's how I would go about it. And the question of 10 blade. For most people, 6 to 8 blade is completely adequate. Will a 10 blade produce a noticeable visual difference in cut quality at 3/4 of an inch? Yes. You'll notice it. I mean, especially if you were comparing them back to back. If you mow the lawn with a what is it? Whatever the with a 6 blade, I think 6 or 8 blade, and then you go to the 10 blade, you will notice the cut quality is going to be better because the clip rate is higher. It's going to look more finished. For most people, I don't really recommend it because, if you are going to go with a higher blade count reel mower, you really got to keep up with the mowing frequency. Like, you're going to need to be out there really no less often than every couple of days. And for most people, that's more commitment than they really want to get into. Does it look better? Yes. Does it look, is the juice worth the squeeze? Probably not. Probably not. Here's what I would say. If you say you had company coming over, or you're trying to get your lawn looking really like just absolutely on fire for say the 4th of July, and you had like a 6 and 8 blade where you could swap back and forth, I would probably run the 6 to 8 blade for most of the season. And then when you're leading up to some, company coming over or, 4th of July or something where you want the lawn to look its absolute best, if you want to swap to the 10 blade, and for that week leading up to that event, you mow with that's going to get you the benefits without really a lot of the downsides. But mowing with a 10 blade all the time. Like I have an 11 blade on my Greensmaster, and while it produces an amazing cut quality, it's absolutely gorgeous, I'm out there really every other day mowing grass, right? So unless that's you, you may not want to go that route because it's better, but it's not like, life changing. The grass gods are saying, "Oh man, Randy, we must salute all your efforts." It's better, but it's not like it's for most people, it is not worth the additional work, in my opinion. Especially if you're keeping the lawn at 3/4 of an inch. You're like half an inch or shorter, then yes, but 3/4 of an inch, probably not worth the extra headache. All right. Okay, next up is, but I have a feeling, Randy, you're probably gonna get the 10 blade anyway. I'm just telling you how I would use it if I were you. You let me know. You let me know what you think. All right, next up is Scott Smith. He says, West Tennessee. That's where you are. You expected cold weather. And then next up is Randy Winstead. A lot of Randy's in the live stream tonight. He says, "Hey, Ron, I'm the unfortunate recipient of utility work in my front yard." Don't you just hate that? My lawn was looking its level best, and they come through and run lines for cable internet service that nobody wants. We already have fiber here. Nobody's going to want insert cable company internet. It's not good. It's not as good as fiber. It just isn't. Like technology wise, it's not as good. Not as good. The way they market it makes it sound as good, but it's just not as good. If you have fiber, it's better. It's better in every way. All right. Anyway, you said you got your lawn torn up. He says it's tore up. Any recommendations on how to make it fill back in quickly once temps get back up? It'll fill back in. So I'd say assuming that they replace the sod, make sure the sod has got good contact with the soil. So if you haven't rolled it yet, go ahead and do that. And then mow it. Once we get some temperature and the grass begins to wake up, just mowing it, man. Mowing is really going to make a big difference as far as accelerating how the lawn recovers. A big part, I am a firm believer there's a big part of why my zoysia lawn looked as good as it did, as quickly as it did, is 10, 11 days, less than 2 weeks after it was installed, I was putting a mower on it. It was getting cut. And that made a big difference. That stimulates new growth. It just helps with the health of the lawn. So right now, this time of year, January, where it's really cold out, not a whole lot you can do. Make sure that the sod has got good contact with the soil so that, it's not drying out, it's getting some nutrient. Then really once we get into the warmer time of the year where it starts growing, just mow it. Feed it, but then definitely keep up with your mowing. That's going to really help it to recover that much faster. And then what will likely happen is, depending on how good or bad a job they did, you may have to do some spot top dressing once we get into the warmer part of the season. So I'm not sure where you are in the country, but say if you're in the Southeast, I'd tell you mid-April to early May is when you could look at doing some spot top dressing, and the lawn will recover pretty quickly from that. All right. Sorry you're dealing with it. It's going around as far as like utilities companies coming in and putting stuff in, but hopefully yours was something good. Maybe they were putting fiber in. In that case, kind of stinks, but it was worth it. In my case, we already have fiber, and they put something in that's like inferior technology for that. I can't imagine anyone's going to buy it. I don't understand why they even bother doing it. Okay, next up is Vince Borrero, 1887. He says, I live in Eastern North Carolina. I got 2x419 in September last year. Okay, so you got 2x419 saw in September last year. Okay. What can I do next month to the lawn to prepare for spring? I have dogs and kids. They've been running around all fall and winter. Level? Okay, Vincent, first of all, congrats on the new lawn. What I would tell you to do, September, okay, yeah. So what I tell you is that plan for two things: plan to do a soil test, and plan to apply pre-emergent. So, as far as the soil test goes, the reason why you want to do a soil test is that will let us know what fertilizers are going to be the best options for your new 2x419 lawn. So you can find a soil test kit there, and then pre-emergent is going to help keep weeds at bay. It's going to reduce the amount of weeds you're going to be fighting with during the spring and summer months. So it's literally one of the best investments you can make in a great lawn early in the season. And as far as, yeah, you're in Eastern North Carolina, as far as where that goes, what I would tell you is this: if you're going to go with a pre-emergent, go with you can go with Dimension, or you can go with dithiopyr or prodiamine. I would just go with dithiopyr. That's what I would roll with. I would go with this. Your Eastern North Carolina, sometime next month, sometime in February, get a bag of this and get it out. All right. That's what I would do. In addition to that, also get a soil test done. Between those things, once you have your soil test done, you got your pre-emergent out, you've got some breathing room, right? Because really, you can start feeding the lawn in March if you want to, depending on how temperatures are going. Some folks wait till April, but at any rate, getting the things that are important and that are time specific, we have to time them to get good results. Pre-emergent is one of those things. Getting out a little bit early is better than late. So I would tell you that would be the thing I would absolutely have you doing next month. Get a soil test done, and then after you get your soil test, we can we can figure out a plan of action as far as what fertilizer program, what kind of nutrient program you want to run on your new lawn, and then outside of that, just mow it. It's really not that complicated. Pre-emergent in the spring, pre-emergent in the fall. Feed the lawn a reasonable, balanced diet of nutrient, and just mow it a lot. If you do those things, it's pretty hard to not have a good looking lawn. Pretty tough. We sum up how to get a great lawn in, let me see, I think I still have that infographic here somewhere. I think it's here. Yes. So if you go just to shop and just actually click on shop, and you scroll down, like how to get a great lawn in 5 steps. 1, eliminate weeds. Number 2, do a soil test, which we're talking about doing. Number 3, fertilize your lawn based on those soil test results. And then number 4, mow and mow some more. And then number 5, which is a byproduct of doing all these things, is you get a great lawn. What we're trying to help you avoid with the pre-emergent is this, where we're trying to reduce the amount of weeds you're going to have in your lawn. If you don't use pre-emergent, April, May timeframe, your lawn's gonna you're gonna have weed issues, and you're gonna have to using more expensive options to get rid of them, like Celsius, like Certainty, like just post-emergent herbicides. So you can reduce the need for those quite a bit by applying pre-emergent. So I would do that, which is gonna make this step hopefully a whole lot less for you, and then you can just skip to the fun stuff, which is step 2, 3, 4, and then 5. All right. So hope that helps, Vincent. Again, congrats on the new lawn. It was decided in September. It's plenty of time. So you got September. If you put out you put your pre-emergent out next month, that's like 5 months. Plenty. It's good to go. I would get that done and get a soil test done, and you're on your way. All right, Michael Coulthard, not related to the Formula One driver, is up next. He says, well, irrigation is in. Got it in between the cold snaps and snow. Look at you, man. Look at you. Looks better now than when it was torn up. I would hope so. I would hope so. But here's the thing, Michael. You picked the right time of year to do it. Get it done. Go through all the headache, the pain, and you'll be looking really good. Like, figure 6-8 weeks from now, you'll be happy that you did it. It's much more difficult emotionally to dig up a lawn that's starting to green up and starting to look really nice. Now, when it's largely dormant, it doesn't really hurt as much. And he says, I hope everyone is staying warm. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. And guys, we're a little about 30 minutes into the show tonight. I know it's a bit early to ask, but if you guys would not mind hitting that like button ever so gently, it's a free way to support the channel, free way to support the show, costs you absolutely nothing. I really appreciate it. While I look for the next comment or question here. Next up, we have True Gator Fan. He says, happy cold Friday, Ron. Expecting 7 to 11 inches of winter's mix here in Memphis over the next 2 days. So I'll be binge watching old live streams. It's not a bad way to pass the time. We definitely have enough content to get to cover a long weekend. I mean, this is, what episode is this? I think it's episode 290 something. Yeah, this is episode 290. There's been 290 live streams. This is, let me see, we're going into we've already been through 5 years. We're going into the 6th year of doing this. So yeah, a whole lot of them. Whole lot of shows. You got plenty of content to watch. If you need something to watch over the next weekend, we got you covered as far as live streams go. All right. And yeah, and hopefully if you can, just stay indoors. Just avoid getting out too much if you can, because it's just, it's not necessarily even you. If someone else is on the road, it's not, tires aren't right or something, you get in an accident, it's just not worth the headache. All right. Swagger313 is up next. He says, Ron, love your live streams. Rather be anywhere in the world except for Detroit, Michigan. It's 2 degrees. Well, I mean, there's places colder than 2 degrees, but I mean, I got to hand it to you. As far as like in the United States, like 2 degrees is pretty, it's not great. It's not great. That's pretty cold. That is pretty cold. I mean, you could be like in North or South Dakota. I'm pretty sure their temperatures are colder than 2 degrees right now. Be in Canada. You could be, I don't know. You'd be in Finland. There's probably colder than 2 degrees there. But yeah, for the United States, 2 degrees is not fun. All right, next up we got Postage 545. He says, hey Ron, it's Al. I am thinking about a SunJoe to verticut. How much usage will I get out of it twice a season? Thank you. I may be getting a foot of snow, but look forward to spring. So it really depends. What I'd say is this: you could use it in the springtime, like early spring, for, as part of your scalping process. You could use it for then. And then, yeah, outside of that, really May, June. Yeah, 3 times, I'd say, so 2 to 3. So once during the early season, when the lawn's coming out of dormancy, and then 2 to 3 times throughout the growing season. It really depends on your lawn. Depends on how, how aggressively it's growing and if it needs to be verticut. But really starting in May, I think that most lawns, especially if they're being real mowed, will benefit from a light verticut. So you could do it in May, you could do it in end of June, you could do it in end of July. So it's at least 3. So yeah, I mean, and for what they cost, I mean, it's not a bad investment. You know what I mean? It's a great piece of equipment to have. So hope that helps. Postage. Next up is G7 Films USA. He says, hey Ron, is it too early to start leveling out my lawn in Georgia? I'm in Atlanta and have some ruts I am still working on leveling out. Yes, it's a bit early in the season to do that. The reason being is this, right? It's especially this next 10 days or so, we're gonna have really cold weather. The grass is not really gonna be growing. It's not gonna be doing a whole lot. Ideally, when you want to do cultural practices like verticutting, like aeration, like top dressing or lawn leveling, like putting sand in the lawn, you want to do that whenever the grass is actively growing. So if you're in Atlanta, you're really looking at mid-April forward is what I would consider doing it. So between mid-April all the way into the second week of August is the window really for you to go out and do your lawn leveling work. I wouldn't do it now. I would wait a few more months. You know what I mean? It's really just too early to do it now. The lawn's not really going to grow through it. So yes, I mean, I know you got the rust in the lawn. You want to start improving that, but really it's too early. I would wait until mid-April at best, before you consider doing that kind of work. And the thing you'll find is this, right? Is if you do your first lawn leveling or your top dressing in mid-April, you're going to be able to do it 2 or 3 more times throughout the season, because you do a lawn leveling, or you do a top dressing application, say in mid-April. It's going to take the lawn, depending on how heavy you go, 4 weeks or so, anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks to recover from that, depending on, again, how heavy you go, and you could do it again. So you could do one mid-April, the last part of May, last into June, and then again like July, August. You can easily top dress your lawn 3 times. You'll be able to get any uneven areas looking far, far better throughout the course of the season. I would just wait to get that process started. It's a bit too early for that. All right. So thanks for reaching out. Glad that you found the content, and if I can help with anything else, let me know. But here's what I would do. I would plan your what you're going to do as far as like top dressing mix. You're in Atlanta, so what I would tell you to go with is the level mix from Supersod. Awesome product. Really clean material, spreads nicely. You're not going to have a lot of issues with weeds and other garbage in it, so that's what I would go with. And another advantage is if you wait until April, they tend to have some kind of specials that they're running in the first part of the year to kind of help folks out. So you'll also be able to save a little bit of money as well. So once I have the codes for 2026, I'll post them in the chat, so you guys can. It's not going to cost you anything anymore, and it'll save you a little bit more money on top of any other specials they happen to be running. Typically, they may take $10 to $20 off of a bag, and then whenever you use the code that I'll give you, it'll save you another $5 or $10. So just I'd say wait because you'll save money, and wait because the timing is not correct to do it now. All right. Next up, we have a Stoggy Chris. He says, I have creeping bent grass putting green. What can I use to kill some POA and weeds? I live in St. Augustine, Florida. Weather isn't too bad here. I feel for the rest of you. Stay safe. Yeah. So creeping bent grass, man, is so sensitive. So sensitive. I mean, when it comes to POA annua, I mean, there's not really a lot of great options for herbicides that you can use that I feel comfortable using on bent grass. I mean, you can remove it, you can dig it out, you can use plant growth regulator like Primo Max. No, that's not Primo. That's Fusilade. That would not be the correct thing to do. You can use something like Primo as a way to suppress and like prevent the POA from throwing seed heads. So you're not going to see it. It'll be there, but you're not going to see it as much. But yeah, as far as herbicides for controlling POA annua in bent grass on a residential putting greens in your backyard, there's not a lot of great options for that, unfortunately. There's some options, but not ones you're supposed to really use on residential lawns. And as far as weeds, same thing, man. I mean, post-emergent herbicides, you just got to be really careful. You can't even like 3 ways, anything with 2,4-D. I mean, you're highly likely to cause injury to the bent grass if you go that route. So what I would say is physically remove it. If it's a small area, it's a putting green, so it's not a big space. If you can just physically remove the weeds, that's probably going to be your best bet. And then if you can keep the green nice and thick, because you're in Florida, keep the green nice and thick by just regular mowing. You're feeding it, you're mowing it, keeping it nice and thick. Like that's going to do a lot for reducing the amount of weed pressure you have just by just making it more difficult for weeds to establish. But I personally would really stay away from herbicides on a bent grass green unless you're willing to tolerate some injury. And again, most folks say they are, but then when their grass, or in your case, your green starts turning brown, they're pretty unhappy with it. So if it were me, I would take the more organic approach and just physically remove the stuff, especially given that it's a green. It's a small area. All right. So sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, Chris, but I really don't want to point you in the direction of any kind of herbicide that could potentially cause damage to your green. All right. Hope that helps, sir, and glad that you are staying warm in Georgia. Or in Florida. You got some benefits that we don't have here in Georgia, so there's always a silver lining, right? All right, Scott Smith is up next. Yes, I have to mow every 2 to 3 days with my 7-blade manual row mower. So there you go. That's a 7-blade. He's mowing every 3 days. If you go to a 10, or in my case, like an 11-blade, especially during the growing season, like when you get into like April, it's like you're like every other day mowing. I mean, and again, it will look better. It's gonna be a thing of beauty. But you have to be honest with yourself. Do you really have the time and or desire to have to be out there doing that? You know what I mean? So just something to consider. And again, it does look better, but I don't know that for most people that it's really worth the squeeze. Randy Velarde says, are we supposed to do a soil test every year? I have reduced my pH from 7.8 to 6.5 in 2 years. It's a good idea, Randy. It is, especially in the springtime, if you want to, determine, what nutrient program you want to run, like what fertilizers are going to be the best for your lawn for the upcoming season. A soil test is a relatively inexpensive way to get the data for that. The most I would tell people to do it is one in the spring, one in the fall. I mean, that's the absolute most. The one in the fall, what that gets you is two things. One, it allows you to like measure the effectiveness of your nutrient program throughout the season. And then also in your case where you've had issues with your soil being more alkaline, where your pH is higher, if you need to apply like a sulfur or make any kind of adjustments to your pH, knowing that in the fall, when the season is beginning to slow down, is good to know, because you've got like all of fall, winter time to apply whatever you need to have that react with the soil, so that when springtime rolls around, you're good to go again. So the fall soil test, the big thing you're looking for with that is looking at where your pH is, and then springtime is just to set your program for the upcoming year. Is it necessary for every single year? Not, you don't have to, but most folks look at it and say, hey, listen, I really want my lawn to look its absolute best. It's like $30. It's really not that much money. 30, whatever they are, $30, $35. And based on that, you're not guessing. You know exactly what you should be doing for the upcoming season. So do you have to? No. Is it worthwhile given all the money and time you spend on your lawn and want it to look its best? I think it is. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, let me know. But yeah, I would consider doing a soil test if you're really serious about getting your lawn looking its absolute best. All right. Next up is Robert Rainey. He says, I got the preen out in the flower beds. Nice. Nice. Good product. It's a good product for keeping weeds out of flower beds. Prodiamine can work too. I've done that in the past, but it doesn't work as well as preen, in my opinion. Okay, next up is Randy Velarde. He says, your thoughts on some people applying fertilizer earlier to give the lawns a jump start. It depends on what you mean by earlier. So I will begin feeding my lawn in March. So, which for some people will be like, it's a bit early, but what I tend to find is, because I scalp my lawn really the end of this month and into February, by early March, unless we've got like a crazy winter, the lawn is beginning to warm up. Like I'm starting to see some green come out throughout the lawn, and I'll go and put out like our 12-0-24. I'll show you, Randy. This is the fertilizer that I apply to start the season on my lawn. This one right here, 12-0-24. It's relatively low nitrogen, high in potassium. It's a great way to kind of slowly wake the lawn up and get it going. If you mean starting applying fertilizer like now, I would not do that. I would wait till you see signs that just due to temperature and environmental conditions, the lawn is beginning to grow, like you're starting to see new growth. And then if you want to feed or support that with fertilizer, that would be fine. But I would not, like, the first thing I wouldn't do is go out and throw out, say, fertilizer on a completely dormant lawn. I just think that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So it depends on what you mean by earlier. Means by earlier, I mean, technically, I guess I do it earlier. Some folks wait till like late March, early April to be feeding their lawns. I start in March. All right. So next up, we have Vahid Navi. I think you're up north. You're in Canada, aren't you? He's dear Ron and others in the chat. I hope you're fine with the snowstorm. If you need any help, let me know about snow. Wish the best for all in 2026 lawn care. I appreciate that, Vahid. I'm pretty sure you're in Canada, so you're probably laughing at us. Oh, look at you guys getting like a couple of inches of snow and you're the world's ending. You guys don't know about snow. I get it. I saw what you did there. All right. Next up is Mel Allen. He says, howdy, heard folks talking about Gallery 75, and I have to ask Ron about this. Any experience with it? Active ingredient, isoxaben. I'm not sure if you can use that on residential lawns. We have time tonight. We can take a look. I don't think so. Let's see. Gallery 75. I think most folks that I've heard people using that have been like in, let's see. Let's see. What is this? Is this later for use on Yeah, I didn't think so. It's not. I didn't think it's not labeled for use on residential lawns. That's what I thought. Yeah, so it's designed for yeah, so commercial turf grass, ornamentals, field grown. But yeah, so like not I didn't think so. You're not supposed to use it. I believe it used to be at one point, but it's not. It's not labeled for. It's not designed for use on on like you wherever you live, like your residential line. I'm not supposed to use it. So would I use it? No, I would use a pre-emergent that is labeled for use on residential properties. This stuff is really designed for commercial places. So not which your residential lawn is not, regardless of what it may identify as. It's really not. It's a residential lawn. So I've heard good things about it, but I would not. Again, it's a non-discussion because you're not supposed to use it on your lawn. All right. Hope that helps, Mel. All right, next up is ATO21. He says, hey, Ron, which of your mowers do you plan on doing your spring scalp with? Good question. I'll likely do the Revolution and use the Allet. I'll use the verticutting cartridges in the Allet. So I will use the Revolution to do a lot of the heavy lifting, get a lot of material out, and then set my stripes for the season with the verticutting cartridge using the Allet. That's the plan. And the Greens Master we'll use on the front lawn. I'll use it on the Zoysia. And yeah. So the Allet and the Revolution. Okay. All right. Next up is Jose Cassidy says, how much research and development are doing behind the scenes? I'm not sure what the question is. Like, how much R&D am I doing behind the scenes, or I'm not sure I understand the question, Jose. So if you're still here, you can rephrase it or ask it a different way, and I will do my best to get you an answer. All right. Next up is Luis Ayabarino. What's going on, Luis? Hopefully you're doing all right, man. He says, good evening, Ron. Planning starting from scratch with a new lawn in the fall. Should I concentrate on pre-emergent soil tests and soil conditioning since I will kill grass, replace with a quality cultivar? Yeah. So if this season is like you don't really, the grass is there, we're just gonna mow it just so you don't get like a nasty ground from I guess an HOA if you have one. Then yes, as far as like doing a pre-emergent to keep weeds at bay, using products like carbonized PNG to help just build up the quality of the soil, I'd absolutely would do that throughout the season. And then and yeah, so pre-emergent soil tests and then carbonized PNG. I would still feed it though, Luis. I mean, you may not give it the full Monty. You may not go out and spoon feed this lawn so you're going to kill it off, but it's not going to hurt anything just to give it a little bit of love, mow it, have it looking decent. Even though you're going to get rid of it in this fall, I would still. I may not go a full spoon feeding program, but I would still throw some fertilizer at it and have it looking nice. I mean, given how picky you've been with lawns in the past, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but I kind of doubt you're gonna just say I'm gonna apply a pre-emergent and just kind of let it ride until the fall. Like you're gonna want it to look somewhat decent between now and then. So again, maybe not a full spoon feeding program, but I would still throw some fertilizer to have it looking respectable. All right. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. It's kind of a slow night tonight, as I would expect, given the temperatures that we have, and folks getting ready for potentially icy conditions. All right, we have okay. Oh, Jose has a follow-up. He says, how much research and development are you doing behind the scenes, and then as in need products or trying new products down the line? Yes. So to answer your question, there are 2 products that are in development right now that with the plan for releasing at the early part of the growing season, a few months from now. So yes. So is there stuff happening? Yes. Yeah. I mean, we're always playing with new things. Some of them are tweaks a couple, and then two are completely new options, completely new products. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good year in 2026. I mean, you will be able to add these onto whatever you're already doing. It's not like if you have your plan already and you got your products that pretty much they're going to be irrelevant. That's not the case. It's really just it's like an additional option, right? Is what it is, and it also replaces something that went away. So those are some of the things that we're working on in the background. Always looking for new options. And then also we're gonna have a new way for you guys to be able to get your lawn care products. So that's something that's in active development now. So those kinds of things are happening, Jose. But for the most part, the program is in pretty good shape. You know, like we've made small adjustments, small tweaks over the years, and I feel like it's in a pretty good spot where it is. Like what we have outlined here, if you go to the golf course lawn store under resources and lawn care schedule, like this has been refined over several seasons. And again, we have folks from Washington State to Florida that follow this and get really good results in their lawns. So, you know, small adjustments, small tweaks, sure, but I mean, for the most part, like this is what I do. This is what I do, and this is what we're going to recommend for folks to do throughout the season. So small additions here and there, small tweaks, but nothing life changing. We'll put it that way. All right. Well, guys, gals, I'm looking here. It's kind of a quiet night, kind of slow, but I guess that's all the questions and comments that we have for this evening. So on that note, I will cue the outro music. Let's see here. Actually, we got one more question. I'm gonna delay that. He says, Randy says, since you've leveled your lawn in the past, are you done? Or if we're content, do we have to do it like every 3 to 5 years? Yeah, it's a good question. So let me pause it. Yeah. So as far as I'll tell you this, when it comes to lawn leveling, Randy, you get the most out of, in my opinion, out of the first 2 that you do. So the first one, you get a lot of work done, get the lawn in much better shape. The one you do the following year after everything is settled is when you get the majority of what you're going to get out of it. And then if you do one every other year, every 2 years after that, you're going to be in pretty good shape. What you're going to find is the top dressing that you do after the main ones, the first couple that you've done, you'll be able to go lighter, and the lawn is going to recover really quickly because you're not putting out nearly as much material. So is it strictly necessary? No, but you will find that, you know, some areas of the lawn will get more wear than others. If you're not varying your mowing patterns, that will also accelerate your need to have to go out and do a light top dressing. Which is why I always I mow in a different direction each time I mow the lawn. But once you have the lawn pretty much where you want it, every 2 to 3 years is probably going to be sufficient for a full top dressing. I'm talking about, right? Throughout the season, you know, every year you may find some areas you may do like some spot top dressing here and there, but as far as like a full blown, we're doing the entire thing. Really, once you get it in good shape, every few years you should be good to go. This is for residential lawns. If you're talking about a green, that's completely different ball of wax. But for a residential lawn, you know, every few years is going to be plenty. All right. And then next up we have Deborah Todd. His question is, evening, Ron, have you heard Lee say anything about another turf party? I have not. I know you planned one for the last year, but they just got crazy busy with everything going on. And so some of the work they were doing, so they just couldn't make it happen. I have not heard from him if he has any plans for doing one in 2026. Well, it's funny. We're in 2026. I gotta see if I can get Lee on the live stream. He normally comes on once per season, so I'll have to ask him when he wants to stop in, tell you guys what he's working on, you know, what plans are. You guys can ask him directly if there's going to be a turf party, and we can go from there. I would assume yes, assuming that, you know, things don't get too crazy, because I mean they're in a pretty good spot now. The mowers are launched and working pretty well, so I can't see a reason why there wouldn't be. But I mean, just all depends on time and or desire. All right. We got Devin in the live stream. He says, "What's up, Ron? Looking forward to some good turf talk. Currently 5 degrees here, and flurries. 1 day closer to spring. Just had my greens master sharpened and tuned, ready to get back out there. Nice. Yeah, 5 degrees is no joke, man. It's pretty nippy. But I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Devin, and that your mower's all fresh and good to go. You know, it's funny. The guy that has done some sharpening for me in the past reached out to me the other day, asking about sending my mowers in. So I will likely, I'm trying to think here. I'll likely just do the Greens Master here soon because that one's not going to really be used for any of the scalping work. And you know what? I might use it to do the front lawn. So I'll probably cut the front lawn with the Greens Master, then sharpen it, and then the Revolution and Owlet will get done after all the cleanup work is done. So yeah. All right, Golf Junkies up next is yellow bag may be available, 30% topsoil, 30% organic, 30% peat moss. They say 3 bags per 1,000 square feet. Thoughts? Like if that's what you have wherever you are, Golf Junkie, is not the same formulation that we have here in Georgia in the Southeast. What Super Sod offers here is a 70% sand, 30% their compost blend. So if your case is, if it's 33% topsoil, 30% organic, what does organic mean? 30% people. Here's the thing, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not sure if I like this because it's pretty much all organic material, like it's topsoil, I guess organic, whatever that is, and then 33% peat moss. I personally would like to have some sand in that. You know what I mean? For leveling, you want to have some sand to help add structure and also improve drainage. So I would mix whatever that is with sand. I think that would be good, but that by itself, in my opinion, doesn't make a great top dressing mix. It's not going to do a great job again, like it really, like substantially improving drainage and also adding just structure to the soil profile. So good for the organic component, but not for a leveling mix, in my opinion, that should stand on its own. All right, next up is Whiskey Blood. He says, best active ingredient for Creeping Charlie control for cool season turf. I mean, there's so many of them, man. You can use Mesotron, you can use Tenacity, you can use a 3-way, something with 2,4-D in it. We'll take care of it. Depends on which kind of cool season grass you have. If you got like Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, or fescue, I would just use a 3-way. That's what I would go with. Something like we carry one called Triad. Like that will work well. Again, that's not a very difficult weed to control, so there's a lot of stuff that'll knock it over. So why not just save some money and use something that is not crazy expensive? So I would go with something like this Whiskey Blood. All right, let's send you there in the chat. Hopefully that helps. And then Stoggy Chris says, I've done my first soil test of the year. Nitrogen levels are super low, like 1.6. That's not uncommon for this time of year. This is my 5th soil test. I'm sure, and it hasn't proved at all. Any suggestions? Just purchase products through your website. Any further suggestions? So what I want to know is this, Chris, if you can, 2 things. Send me an email. Let's see here. My email is here, ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me an email with 2 things. 1, your soil test results, and then if you can, let me know what you apply. Like, what program did you do over this past season? Like, what have you, like, what fertilizers you've been using, what interval and rates, like that would be good to know. But the soil test results would be useful to have. So you can email me, ron@golfcourselawn.com. I'll take a look at it and I'll let you know what I would do as far as getting your lawn, your soil at a better spot. All right. Let's have the data. I'll take a look and I'll give you some feedback. All right, and then Deborah Todd says, yes, please have Lee back on soon. I'll ask him. I mean, it's still early in the season, so he'll probably want to wait. If he wants to come on, it probably will be, I imagine, like March-ish time frame, like when it's warmer, when folks are kind of getting going. So I would think, but I'll ask him. I'll see what he wants to do. All right. All right, well, guys, gals, that is our last comment question of the evening. So we will cue the outro music. As always, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with me here on a cold January morning, or January evening, and it's going to be cold for the next week or so, next 10 days. But then we'll be off to the races as far as getting our pre-emergent out, getting our soil testing done, feeding the lawn, mowing. It's just getting out there, just doing the things. It'll be here before you know it. And then Jose, his last question is, I may have missed the answer, but when should you do your first soil test of the year? I would do it in depending on where you are in the country, but February to March is when I would look at doing that if it were me, Jose. All right, depends on where you are in the country, but February to March is good. All right. Well, guys, gals, as always, thanks again for all the love and support. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out, even though I know the weather is crazy cold. There's not a whole lot happening in the lawns. As always, we'd love to earn your business, be part of your lawn care program at the Golf Course Lawn Store. We have an amazing selection of pre-emergent fertilizers, herbicides, everything you need to create a lawn that your neighbors will absolutely envy. And again, we love the opportunity to earn your business and be part of your of you creating an amazing lawn. As always, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We'll be back next week, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday. If you have anything between now and then, feel free to reach out to us, give us a call at the business. Either, more than likely, if one of our customer support people will answer. But if you have any questions, just reach out. We'll do our best to get you all squared away. Have an amazing weekend. Stay warm. If you don't need to go outdoors, stay in. It's a great way to not mess your car up and just overall just stay in good shape. All right. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys.